Hello friends, Lee here from TableTop Bong. Thanks for joining me. In this video, I thought we could hang out, have a fun sesh, and we could play a game of Would You Rather, the 420 edition. It is April 20th, 2025 on the day of recording this, and I am in the big 420 energy that is going on today. I hope everybody's feeling it. So I thought what I would do is just jump on and we could do something really fun, light and playful to get the day really going exactly as it should be, right? With lots of big laughs and a good time. Later today, I'm also going to drop a little Flower 2.0 update for you guys as well. I've had so many questions about what's going on there, so I'm going to drop you an update as well, but I thought we could do this first and then I'll drop you an update later on, so you have that to look forward to as well today. So let's get right in and play the 420 edition of Would You Rather Stoner style. All right, you know what? Of course, my friends, before we go too far with anything today, like I said, is 420, we had better rip a bowl. So I'm using my wireless one-hit wonder today, and I'm vaping Flower 2.0. And yeah, I'm doing big one-and-done rips, and I'm just having a great day today. I hope everybody's having a great day today. This is always such a fun day. So let's get right in and have some. Cheers. Oh, so lovely, so smooth, so good. Yum, yum, yum. All right, so let's get in and talk about this Would You Rather 420 edition. So I've made some notes, make sure I keep myself on track. Let's start. These are going to be funny. What I'm going to do is I'm going to supply my answer to these questions, and I'm going to suggest to you guys do one of two things. Shout it out at the screen and just have a good time, and who cares? Or drop it in the comments. Either way, it's all up to you. So let's go. Number one, would you rather take a hit from a fish tank gravity bong? We've all seen the buckets of the past. Would you rather gravity bong your fish tank and rip on that, or would you rather have a sesh with your ex using only their gear? Think about that one for a minute, right? That means you got to sit with your ex and have a sesh, and you have to use their gear. And some people, their ex might have some pretty clean gear. I'd rather take a chance of inhaling a fish, personally. I can't help myself. I would rather inhale a fish than have a sesh with really dirty gear. And there's a reason my ex, I guess, is my ex, right? We probably didn't want to hang out anymore. So I would probably take my chances with the fish. Where would you go on that one? All right, let's get right in and let's follow it up with another one. And then guess what we're going to have to do after that? We're going to have to rip another bowl because it's 420. All right, so here, this one is great. This one I had to really think about for a minute. Would you rather hotbox a tent with Willie Nelson, or would you rather have a sesh competition with Snoop Dogg to find out who could vape more weed? I thought this was a pretty good one because, I mean, hanging out with Willie, right? That would be a very, very cool experience. But then, I mean, having a sesh with Snoop Dogg, but see, the hook here is with Willie, if you're sitting in a tent and you're hotboxing that tent, right? You're just having a normal sesh. It's going to be a really calm, casual conversation. That guy's got some wisdom. I assure you, he's got some wisdom. So it's going to be one style of a sesh, but then, I mean, if you're competing with Snoop Dogg, like head to head, who can rip more bowls? Well, what do you think about that? Which way would you go with that one? Think about that for a minute. Cheers. So I thought this one through very, very carefully because Willie Nelson is definitely somebody I would love to sit and have a slow, casual sesh with, learn some of the secrets that guy must know. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to take Snoop Dogg on this one, and I'm going to say I would go head to head with Snoop Dogg and see if I couldn't make my way through that competition. I will even go as far as to throw it down and say I think I'd win. I think I could do it. I would actually try that with pretty much anyone in the world and just see what happened. What the heck? That's, to me, a sesh competition. That's some fun stuff if you're into it. All right, let's carry on. I'd love to know what you guys think about that. All right. I've spent some time getting really high and thinking about these questions and like trying to come up with some pretty random and kind of crazy stuff just for some giggles. So try this one on for size. Would you rather get really high accidentally right before a job interview, or would you rather accidentally FaceTime your mom while on shrooms? I had to sit and think about this one for a minute. In the end, I decided I would probably rather FaceTime my mom on shrooms, because she would be like, of course you are. Of course you're FaceTiming me on shrooms. Why wouldn't you be? And it probably wouldn't shock her maybe as much as some other mothers might be shocked by. Not that I'm saying, I'm a big shroom guy. I'm just saying she's probably been through it over the years, having me as a kid. So probably not too much would shock her. So, but I'm sure a lot of people, the idea of FaceTiming their mom accidentally on shrooms will be like absolutely devastating, right? Where do you fall on that one? All right, let's jump in. Here's another one that I thought was actually pretty funny. Would you rather go on a date with someone that is not into weed at all? Or would you rather go on a date with somebody who is into weed, but then when you take your first rip on the vape, when you're having your first sesh together, for some reason it just slaps you and it hits you and you start coughing and sounding like a dying goose and you have a real hard time recovering it? Which way would you rather go? Would you rather go with somebody who's into weed and let them watch that occur so that you can get over that and have a good laugh about it later? Or would you rather just go on a date with somebody who's not into weed and just save yourself the entire embarrassment of that? Well, I figure I've publicly done that whole coughing like a goose until it looks like you're dying thing enough times that I figure I'm probably pretty comfortable with that. So I would just be like, yeah, I'm going to just probably cough like a dying goose here while I have this rip, and let's hope for the best. And, I'll pass it over to you when I'm done so we can we can both laugh at each other. That's where I would go with that one. I don't know if I could really jive all that well with somebody who wasn't into weed. I thought about that too, and I'm like, oh man, that would make for some super uncomfortable circumstances, wouldn't it? If you really think about that, right? Like weed's your whole deal. It's everything that you're into, everything you think about all day, every day, and you got this kind of almost obsessive personality with it. Yeah, I have to have a partner that's understanding of that. All right, here's another one. This one's pretty fun too. Would you rather have an unlimited supply of free, mediocre weed for life, but it comes from like this really sketchy dude nicknamed Toothless Dave? Okay, and it's mediocre weed. Would you rather have that for life free from that sketchy dude, Toothless Dave? Or would you rather have to just pay full pop for premium weed for the rest of your life? Which way would that go? So I sat and I thought about this one for a minute, and I decided I would probably become friends with Toothless Dave. We'd probably become buds, and I would get him to make his weed a little bit better than mediocre eventually down the line. That's what I would do with that, because, I don't love paying full price for anything in my life. I'm just kind of that guy, right? I like to get a good deal on stuff. So paying full price for weed for the rest of my life will probably really, really bug me. Some people it wouldn't affect in the slightest, and they probably wouldn't want to hang out with Toothless Dave, right? I'd rather hang out with Toothless Dave and become buds than pay full price. So that's that's where I'm going. Oh my goodness, how silly are these questions, right? Like, imagine the state of mind I must have put myself in to sit and do this and actually pretend to be an adult at the same time. All right, speaking of which, let's go one step further. All right, would you rather take one rip from a mystery blend of weed just simply labeled spiritual reset? Or would you rather be a little bit too edible high at a family wedding all day? That's a good one, right? Because a little too edible high, it's that kind of point. You're not sure if anybody knows or don't know if it's just you feeling it, what's going on. Like, it's that in-between space, right? You're not really screwing up too bad here or anything, but you don't know where it's at because you're just at that state of being a little too edible high. So I really, really had to sit and think about that one for a minute. I'm like, you know what? I'm always down for anything called spiritual reset. If you want to try that, I'm in. Like, whatever it is, let's go for it. So I decided I would definitely grab on the weed called spiritual reset, and I would just go for it and not even really hesitate too much about that. I keep reaching for for the vaporizer in the wrong spot. It's that day. It's 420. What can I say? All right, here's another one for you guys. Would you rather drop your vape in a porta potty or sesh with your last ex? And when I say last ex, I mean the last person you had a relationship with. Would you rather drop your vape in a porta potty or have to have a sesh with that particular person? I would rather drop my vape, pick it up, and clean the heck out of it. Personally, that's because, you know what, then I can just go right back to having a good old sesh, and I'm not worried about anything, and there isn't anybody who's going to harsh my mellow at that point in time, right? That's what I'm saying. So I'm not bad when it comes to cleaning a vape. I'm not afraid to get in and clean all the little tiny parts of it and make sure it's perfect. So I would go with that route for sure. Okay. You can tell as you look at the questions how I was getting more and more progressively intoxicated from my sesh, let's say. So let's go for it. Let's go ahead again. All right. Would you rather vape with aliens that only communicate in telepathy? Or would you rather go back to the 70s and teach an actual 1970s hippie how to use a ball vape? Think about that one for a minute, because they're both pretty cool opportunities if you think about it, right? Hanging out with some aliens that are only communicating with telepathy. Wow, a whole bunch of stuff just fell off a shelf when I said that. That's a little bit eerie, isn't it? Uh-oh. All right, and then moving right ahead. Think about it. Think about going to the 70s. I mean, I'm from the 70s, so I remember what was going on back then. If you could teach people a hippie, like a true hippie from the 70s, man, like I saw when I was a kid, I was looking at some real cool, groovy hippies. If you could teach them about a ball vape, it would just be maybe even too much for the mind of a 1970s hippie. So I had to really sit and think about that one, and I'm like, you know what? As much as I love me a 1970s hippie, and as much as I love a ball vape, the idea of sitting and communicating telepathically with aliens, I don't know what could get me to pass that opportunity up. Wouldn't that be something unbelievably cool? So I said, yep, I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to pick hanging out with some telepathic aliens as my would you rather on that one. All right, so let's go ahead and conclude this with the final question. This is number 10. Would you rather? And this one I really had to think about. This one's a bit of a tough one, so I'm leaving you with one of those kind of questions. Would you rather be high all the time and just a little bit dizzy or confused feeling? You know that, I'm a little bit confused, a little bit dizzy, that feeling? Would you rather be high all the time and have that feeling? Or would you rather only be able to get high once a week, but have the perfect buzz that once a week? Which way would it go for you? It's a hard one, right? Because, I mean, once a week doesn't, for me anyway, it doesn't feel like anywhere near enough what I'm thinking about. But to be stuck in that one buzz all the time and that little bit of confused, dizzy kind of feeling, like all the time, I was like, oh, that's tough, because once a week isn't very much. But I was like, you know what? I probably would go with the once a week, have the perfect buzz, and then I would, use my time to figure something else out that was going to work for me. But I don't know that I could live with that whole feeling all the time. I wouldn't pick it anyway, that's for sure. So, but I know lots of people would be like, yeah, that's cool with me, man. I'd rather just sit on the couch, feel that feeling all the time. That would work, man. Watch movies, play video games. Woohoo! And I get it too, man. I could see times where that would make perfect sense and be a whole lot of fun, right? So anyway, that's the fun of Would You Rather, I guess. So anyway, guys, please drop in the comments what you're thinking about this. Let me know how you feel about videos like this. I really enjoy going through the process to create content like this and delivering it to you guys. But I would love a little bit of feedback on that. Let me know what you think, how you feel. Did you enjoy these questions today? All right, let's keep the conversation rolling. And like I said, I'm going to come back a little later on today and I'm going to drop a Flower 2.0 update so you guys can look for that as well. Happy 420 for anybody who's watching this on the day of recording. Until next time, take care.